Yeah.
Okay, that will be fine.
So a very warm welcome to all of you. Very warm welcome to Professor McGrath here today. And thank you all for joining this session. I'm Devesh Dati, and I'm the program manager here at the Next Genius Foundation. A little bit about Next Genius. So the Next Genius is a registered charitable trust in India, and we help high school students, high school seniors, with scholarships for their undergraduate education in the US. If you are in grade 12 or gap year, and if you're looking at the US, I would encourage you to check out our website, which is next-genius.com, and learn more about our scholarships. With that said, today we have with us Professor Deborah McGrath to talk with us about environment and sustainability. Professor McGrath is a professor of biology and the assistant dean of the environment programs at Sewanee. Um, and Sewanee is also a Next Genius partner college. So uh, if you're interested in applying to environment or sustainability kind of programs, again, you can look at Next Genius. So thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today, and over to you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for attending today, and I really appreciate your interest. Uh, as was said, I'm the biology professor. I teach a lot of environmental science. I'm a ecology and biogeochemist by training, which brings me into a lot of application of what the science that I do to solving real world problems. I'm also the dean of the Sewanee Integrated Program of the Environment. And what I'm going to do today is represent that program to you. So you know all the things that we offer here at the University of the South, because I believe that we are one of the premier institutions for the study of the environment among liberal arts colleges in the US. So first of all, what I'd like to tell you is that we have at Sewanee 13,000 acres, which is one of the largest campuses in the United States. It's mostly covered with wooded, forest areas, but we also have lakes and wetlands and all sorts of other things. So it's a great place to be if you like being outdoors. It's a beautiful part of the country. And we are, in a little rural area, and definitely we are in the midst of the environment. So it's a great place to recreate, to find solitude and peace of mind, but also our 13,000 acres serves as a living laboratory. So if you study the environment at Sewanee, you will very certainly have at least 1, 2, 3, maybe multiple classes that have laboratories that take advantage of these 13,000 acres. So we do a lot of studying outdoors. And we have our land base allows us also to experiment with ways of managing to try to find sustainable alternatives that to land management. So from that perspective, our land base is very, very attractive. The second thing you should know is that we have 6 majors and 6 minors and that focus on the environment. That is why we try to bring them all together in this integrated program of the environment, because we have many different ways in which you can study the environment. So for example, we have majors in biology that focus on ecology and biodiversity and conservation biology. We have a whole department of earth and environmental systems, and they have a major in geology, a major in forestry, a major in natural resources, and an interdisciplinary major that's called environment and sustainability. And for those of you who are artists or writers, we also have an environmental arts and humanities major, because we recognize that artists have such an important role, especially in communicating both the challenges we face with respect to the environment, but also the solutions that are available to us. So we have a very unique program in environmental arts and humanities. And then we have all sorts of environmental minors, and you could go to our website and look at those. And then because we are on top of our watershed, that is to say, we're on top of the Cumberland Plateau. And so what we do up here on the mountain affects the water quality and the environmental quality of the people who are in the valley below. And because where we live represents a biodiversity hotspot in terms of amphibians and other aquatic organisms, we have a watershed capstone certificate, which allows you to take advantage of this place on our campus and really delve into learning about watershed science. So those are the different ways in which you can study the environment. Another thing you should know is that we have well over 50 different courses that are in the environment. So we have courses that range from, ecology to communicating and environmental writing to environmental ethics, environmental econ, agroecology, conservation biology, all sorts of classes that just span the disciplines that you find at a small liberal arts college. And this is reflective of the truly fine faculty that we have. We have over 30 faculty members that have specialization in the environment. Again, that spans from religious studies and philosophy to all of our STEM fields, to history, economics, anthropology. We've got a really broad, diverse faculty. Another thing that is, I think, attractive is that we also really focus on student-faculty research. So this is something that's increasingly more important. And because of our small institution and the fact that we really boast very close relationships with students and faculty, we have many students who engage every year in projects that often culminate in published papers, conference presentations, and honors theses, or in activism. There's a lot of activism on campus. And we have an Office of Environmental Stewardship and Sustainability. And this office is charged with not only managing our large land base, but for running our farm. We have a functioning farm. We produce food for our university dining services, as well as food for surrounding food banks. Students work there as work study. We have classes out there, and we have all sorts of activities, co-curricular activities at our farm. So the Office of Environmental Stewardship and Sustainability helps manage the farm and our land base, and engage in a lot of aquatic research, a lot of wildlife research, and student activism on campus. So we have the Sewanee Sustain leaders who drive a lot of climate activism and other kinds of environmental programming. We have this thing called the Green Fund that allows students to write a proposal and seek funding for their own environmental projects on campus. Let's see, so we have a lot of student activism, and we want more. And another thing that is really nice about environmental studies at Sewanee is we have a number of ways you can study the environment abroad or in other parts of the country. So, for example, we have programs, environmental programs in China, in Haiti, Uganda, Belize, New Zealand. So we are also encouraging environmental stewardship at a global scale. And finally, and most attractively, we have over 40 funds or 40 different environmental internships that we can fund every year. This allows students to go work with other organizations as an intern, or even do student faculty research here on campus or in some other location. So we have a lot of support for students to participate in research and internships. And finally, we have a commitment to environmental justice, which is something, especially now more than ever, It's really important, and a dedication towards helping raise the voices of students of color and their work, and helping them gain access to opportunities in environmental careers and environmental activism. And this is an important value of both my office and the Office of Environmental Stewardship and Sustainability. So that is sort of an overview of what we do, but is it too early to allow questions?
I think maybe after a few minutes we can take some questions. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so let's see. Let me think about, okay, so let me talk about some of the programs that we have. So we have our program in China has been looking at water quality and the role of wetlands in remediating wastewater. We also have a wastewater wetland that we've constructed here at Sewanee for research. The idea is to clean wastewater better so that we don't pollute the waters of our neighbors. And we have ongoing research collaborations with other institutions like the University of Georgia, looking at microplastics, microplastic removal, looking at pharmaceutical and personal care removal, all sorts of water pollution issues. We have a program that looks at sustainability in New Zealand and also in Iceland. So students go and look at these two innovative countries and get to know the different ways in which these countries are meeting sustainability challenges. We have a program that looks at rainforests and coral reefs in Belize, and another program that looks at agroforestry and carbon sequestration, working with farmers in Haiti. We also have a program in Uganda that students look at the connection between health and environmental issues. So there's many ways away from campus to explore the environment. On campus, we have, like I said, a working farm that is really one of the centerpieces of our sustainability efforts. We have many classes that deal with natural resource management, in which we use small tracts of our land base to try to study different ways of more sustainable management in forestry, for example. We have lots of research projects that students engage in, especially with amphibian research and bird and bat research. So students can look at a lot of the different animals on our campus and look at things like the effect of land use change on their well-being, even the effect of climate change on some of their habitats. So those are kind of the range of different, we have student activism that I'm very proud of. We have Socially Responsible Investment Club, which is charged with taking a portion of our endowment and investing it in only environmentally responsible funds. And those students have really made a big difference on campus. And we have a really robust office of civic and community engagement, which allows our students to get out into the community in the surrounding 3 counties on top of the plateau and work with community members towards achieving their goals, many of which are obviously going to be environmental. So that is environmental studies at Sewanee. And really, I feel like this would be better if students felt like they could ask questions. I'm really interested in how they're, what's important to students.
Right. So we do have some questions which students have started sending. So
Okay.
The first one is, in which semester usually does an undergraduate student get an opportunity for research work?
Oh, that's a very good question. And the reason for this is we really encourage students to start research as early as possible. They don't have to start it that early, but we find it to be to their great benefit. I've had students who start as early as the first or second semester here at Sewanee. One of my students who just graduated has already published 2 papers, and she started we have a very good place-based first year program called Finding Your Place, where students come for about 10 days prior to the semester, and they have a faculty and upper class student mentors. And basically they take an immersion type class for 10 days that helps them get to know this entire area. And that has been a really good springboard for research, because you start off kind of with a head start. You already know the area, you know lots of faculty's expertise, you have an intimate relationship with other students and other faculty members. And so many students are starting research their first year in college. And why that's good, and I'll tell you why this is good, because if you can get a year or so of research, it can become fruitful. You can do that conference paper or that presentation. Uh, and we all, we really encourage people to do honors theses if that's possible as well. Once you have that experience doing research here, then you can go apply for things like the National Science Foundation Research Undergraduate Institution programs, which are highly competitive, but students who have done research here are much more competitive. So as early as the first semester.
Okay, wonderful. What kind of jobs do environment and sustainability graduates uh, take up upon graduation?
Well, there's many different types of jobs. We have people who work for federal and state agencies in resource management. We certainly have people who work for nonprofits that focus on the environment. We have people who work in the government in policy on environment. We have people who run their own consulting businesses where they advise people on different environmental issues. And we have people who work in the private sector, who have businesses that they are managing and running in a much more environmentally friendly manner. So I would say that the study of the environment is a lens that could put you in almost any employment sector. I really believe that. And something I'd like to see happen here on campus is a green business and social entrepreneurship major, because I think that one of the ways that we change the world for the better is inviting businesses to join us in the challenge and to operate more responsibly.
Okay, that's wonderful. What would you recommend a youngster, a high school junior, high school senior should do to demonstrate their interest in environment and sustainability programs, and how should they, work on such projects, or how should they build their application for such
Oh,
a program?
sure. Well, for one thing, I think most high schools now have some sort of environmental club. I've seen them. So if the environment is your passion, then you should be pursuing the things that you're passionate about in your high school life. I believe authenticity is so important. And so if you really are interested in something and believe in it, participating in volunteer activities, in clubs that take on initiatives in your high school or in your community is very important. Obviously, taking courses that help build an understanding of the environment, whether they are STEM classes, science classes, or even other, literature classes. I think there's so many ways to learn about the environment. So obviously coursework, working on projects for your community or for your high school, just getting out and learning about the environment. Some of our best students here are the ones that have, just out of their own passion, grown up playing in the water and catching salamanders and frogs or whatever, or learning the species of flowers or learning the species of trees. Just that kind of knowledge and passion demonstrates to us your commitment, and that's very attractive on an application. If you can, so those are the ways that those are the things that I see on college applications. One other thing I should mention to you is we have the Sewanee Summer Environmental Institute. Now, we weren't able to have it this year, but because of the pandemic, but normally it's a program where we bring about 28 to 30 high school juniors, sometimes sophomores, to campus for 2 weeks of hands-on learning on our domain about research and just environmental problem solving. So that's the Sewanee Environmental Institute, and I can send everybody a link to our website. We start accepting applications in about December. I will say that right now, I cannot be 100% certain that we'll have it this summer again because of the pandemic, but it is our intention to try to. But I know that many students who come as freshmen have participated in this program because they get on campus, they start learning about our 13,000 acres and all of our faculty, and they fall in love with the institution and they end up as students here. So if you're interested in that, I recommend it. We have scholarships available, and I think it's a pretty unique program.
Superb. Yeah, and I think amongst all the next seniors, partner colleges, Sewanee's campus is the most beautiful. I myself would love to visit there someday.
Well, I hope to host you, please. I would love to host you.
Definitely, maybe after the lockdown is over and we are able to travel more openly. Great.
Are there any more questions?
Yes, there are a couple more. So when do students declare their major? And what if they're not sure about their specialization in environment?
Oh, okay, that's great. Normally, any major is declared by the second semester of their sophomore year. So that gives you a time, 3 semesters, to explore. We expect you to explore. I don't think anyone expects you to know what your specific interest is or what your major is when you come in. So, I would recommend taking Introduction to Environmental Studies or an environmental history course or something that you're very interested in, and take those 3 semesters to explore, because the remaining semesters are more than enough for you to major in the environment. But that'll give you the opportunity. And it's very much in line with the liberal arts tradition.
Okay, we have a couple more questions. Is there a way in which students who are interested in both environment and engineering or more STEM related courses like physics, if they can combine these and take a self-designed major sort of a thing?
Okay. So I know several students who have done that. And what they do is our 3-2 engineering program. And so they have an environmental focus, and then they take the physics and math that's necessary for engineering. And they're here on our campus for 3 years. And then we have an agreement with Vanderbilt and I think New York University and University of Georgia, I think University of Georgia, but a number of engineering schools, Washington University, that students can go and then spend another 2 years, I think it's another year or two, and get an engineering degree as well as a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science from the University of the South. And actually, my own son is interested in environmental engineering. And so he may pursue a path like that. I think you get the best of both worlds. You get the liberal arts experience and the emphasis in environment. And then you also have a chance to get a degree from in engineering from a fine institution.
Okay, wonderful. One more question here. It is, do you also offer courses looking into mycology and relating to the study in mycology and with sustainability?
Oh, so you mean mushrooms?
Yes.
Yes, okay. You know what? I would say we did have 2 courses. Well, we had one course in mycology years ago, but that professor retired. And it is a shame because the fungi here on this campus and in the woods is unbelievable. So I wish we did. We certainly have people who know something about fungi, but we don't currently offer a course in fungi. But we do have self-designed majors. And so if you have some sort of interest in natural medicine or herbal medicine and environmental studies or public health, those sorts of things are possible. But I'm sorry about no mycology class right now.
Can students come there for summer programs? High school students, do you have some sort of summer programs for them?
Yes, that would be the Sewanee Environmental Institute. That would be the best summer program. We do have other programs. We've got the Sewanee Young Writers Conference. So students who are really interested in writing, and many of them are, interested in environmental writing. We have a Young Writers Conference, and we also have the Sewanee Summer Music Festival, where students who are really interested in music can come study music. So Sewanee Environmental Institute, 2 weeks of hands-on environmental research and problem solving, Sewanee Music Festival, Young Writers Conference, and I'm trying to think if we have another program. I think that's all that I can recall, but those are all programs that take advantage of strengths here. And music and writing is very much a tool that is important in the communication of environmental issues and solutions.
Okay, so we are almost towards the end of this webinar. But before we close, I would like you to maybe share some final word of advice with all these bright students, some of whom might be looking at Sewanee, or even if they're not looking at Sewanee, most of them are actually looking at environment and sustainability or bio-related majors. So, yeah.
Okay, well, my advice, and I have 2 children, I have one that is exactly this age. My advice to all of my students is truly, and is to follow your passion, because you will always be successful at something that for which you have a passion. And then a personal piece of advice that I truly believe in is that if you look at your life and realize that its purpose and that doing something bigger than yourself gives your life so much more meaning than just a single pursuit of say money, or I mean, money is important, don't get me wrong, but making purpose part of your life's goal, serving others, serving the environment, working together during this time of challenge, those are the things that really give your life purpose. And I believe, whether you go to Sewanee or whatever college you go to, it's a time to explore how you can use your gifts and your unique talents to serve something bigger than yourself. And if you pursue a passion and serve something bigger than yourself, I feel that success is almost guaranteed. That's my advice.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's a superb advice, and definitely, I think pursuing your passion is something which everyone should do. And of course, it's most important for the students who are right now just not sure probably what to do, and are looking out for opportunities and are looking out for ideas and things to do. So I'm sure the students and the educators who joined us for this session today gained a lot. Thank you so much. Yes.
And may I welcome you all to email me, and I can connect you with professors here who might share interests. But please feel free to communicate with me. I will be sure that you get a response.
Yes, and I'll just type down your email ID in the chat box. So anyone who would like to email, please feel free to write to Professor McGrath. Uh, yeah, and once again, thank you so much, ma'am, for your time this morning. It's great to have you here today with us, and thank you for sharing such wonderful information with all of us today.
Thank you. It was an honor. Bye-bye, and be safe. Be happy.